Hello everybody, it's Ali again. I'm really sorry, I'm terrible at uploading videos and making videos. Hopefully this one is gonna upload because really I feel like it needs to be uploaded because of events that have been happening in the world. This is going to be how to be a good trans ally. I'm going to be sharing this in as many places as I possibly can. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if you have anything to do with the trans community or the LGBT community, it's been all over social media this morning and yesterday that a trans girl who was 17 has taken her life, has committed suicide. So really, and there is a suicide note that she wrote online, and she actually says in it that she wants people to help with the transgender civil rights movement, to help trans people get their rights and to be more accepted by society. So this is really why I'm making this. The first point, somebody's name. This is the most, well, one of the most crucial things you can get wrong or right with a trans person. All of them are crucial in many ways, but this one especially. Getting somebody's name mixed up, I mean, obviously it may happen a few times, and to some extent it has to be expected if you have known the person for a long time before they came out to you, and maybe if they are transitioning before they transitioned. Also bear in mind that some people may choose different names throughout their transition. For example, some people choose the name their parents would have given them had they been born, especially if they're binary, had they been born the opposite, well, the gender they identify with. And some people ask friends to choose their name, but the thing with these methods is that if somebody else is choosing your name, then you might not click with it and feel comfortable with it in the way that you might if you had picked your name yourself. So it is possible that they may choose to change that. Second one, probably the most important one of them all, pronouns. Pronouns are the things you use instead of the person's name. Some people do just prefer to skip pronouns completely and go by their name. So instead of saying, I don't know, Alex went to the show and he took some friends, you would just say Alex took some friends to the show or something like that without mentioning any pronouns. Obviously the two most common pronouns are he, his, him, and her, hers. Yeah, she, yeah. I'm going completely mad. You really have to ask the person what pronouns they prefer. It isn't a case that you can just make up whatever pronouns you want. You have to or you should at least go by what the person is asking you to call them by. And please bear in mind, some people who identify not as male or female, or in between the two, or fluctuating between the two, may ask you to change pronouns, or may ask you to use slightly less well-known pronouns, and I'll make another video on those, really. Number 3, have a good understanding of what being transgender means to the person themselves and in general, because there's a very common misconception that transgender is just when you are going from one gender to the other, either way kind of thing, and that there are only 2 genders. There it's not. I know many people that identify as neither male nor female, or fluctuating between the two, or in between the two, and I'll make another video as well on kind of on all these things really, but on the different kinds of being transgender, I guess you could say. Ask respectful questions. There's a key word in this, respectful. Do not ask someone how they have sex. Do not ask someone what their real name is. Their name is whatever name they tell you. Okay, some people seem to think that trans people are being deceiving by not telling them either that they are transgender or not telling them their birth name. Their birth name is none of your business. It is a dead name. Their name, the person's name, is whatever they say their name is. You should have enough respect for your fellow human beings to really, I mean, half of these things to me just seem like common sense, but apparently not so. I have had people ask some really rude and just, no man, how can you walk up to someone so easily and ask them what they do in the bedroom, or what they have? Do not ask them as well what genitalia they have. This is probably the biggest no-no ever. Do not do it. It is just no, okay? Just no. And that kind of covers my point of number 5. Don't ask what their real name is. Number 6, referring to the past. This is something you really have to talk to the person about themselves. But this is something I have come up with quite recently, actually, or come up against. When referring to the past, when I am talking about myself, I will either say when I was younger, or when I was a child, or quite a lot of the time I say when I was a boy, and kind of going back in time. I refer to myself as a young boy, I refer to myself as he, and to be honest, I expect everybody else to do exactly the same. It doesn't, some people will say, yes, but you used to be gender, and only now you are a boy, in my case. Whilst I can understand why people think this, there are an awful lot of transgender people. In fact, I think every trans person I'm pretty sure every trans person I've ever really met, they will tell you that they have always been whatever gender they identify as. It is just, there are studies conducted even that show that, female to male transsexuals and male to female transsexuals have a brain more similar to the gender they identify with, and it is just really their body that is typically male or female. So it is studies show that being transgender is something from birth, innate, in the womb. It can't be changed, and in light of this, I really feel like people should start referring to people as when you were younger, when you were a child, so what did you used to do when you were a young boy, sort of a thing. I don't know. Adjectives. This one's going to seem a bit weird, but adjectives are the things you use to describe nouns, and the noun in this case is the person you are describing. So you would not call a cisgender a person that identifies as the gender they were assigned at birth. You would not call a cisgender male pretty. I highly doubt you would anyway. You would not call a cisgendered male, just be careful what adjectives you use to describe someone, and it's the same as you would not say to a cisgendered female, they look handsome, or cute is okay, hot's okay, sexy's okay, even though I don't personally really like that one myself. That's just me in general. But I'm not saying you have to go around saying I look really handsome or whatever, but yeah. Intimacy, I can make a whole video on this one, but I'm not going to. Basically, just in a physical relationship anyway, I think there needs to be a lot more communication. There needs to be a lot of communication anyway, and with trans people that is pretty much tripled, if not quadrupled, if that's even the word. So just be very careful, ask your partner what they are comfortable with and really go from there, and also respect their wishes if they say they're just not comfortable with sex in general. What else? Oh yes, relationship naming. Now this comes into the last point. When I have dated people, I have always, my first girlfriend knew me as her boyfriend. I have never dated someone as a lesbian or anything like that. I was always somebody's boyfriend, and I will still be somebody's boyfriend in the future. It doesn't, but just be aware that if you are a female who is in a relationship with a trans woman, you are in a lesbian relationship with that woman. She is your girlfriend, and the same goes as even if you're male and you are in a relationship with a trans woman, she is your girlfriend and you are in a straight relationship. Or just ask the person how they would like to be referred to. I'd say asking is a key thing in being a trans ally. And if you ever go to anywhere with your trans friends, and you were to meet any trans people that that are openly trans, you can just say to them, if you can't perhaps work out whether they're how they identify, just ask them, what pronouns do you prefer, how do you identify. They shouldn't be offended. In many ways that shows, if somebody asks you that, it shows they care enough to be asking and not just assuming. And number 10 is quite a key one, which is talk about trans issues. There seems to be a taboo in society where we don't talk about trans issues, and actually it fuels and in any way causes a lot of depression and negative emotion amongst the trans community, especially the trans youth. Reading this suicide note from this very young, she's the same age as me. Reading this suicide note of this girl is horrible. It's because she mentions so many different things about how her parents weren't very supportive, how people at school started to ignore her and not go near her, how it's just horrendous, really. And I feel like this is an important video to make. I wanted to make it anyway, but I feel its importance has almost doubled, because, yeah. Anyway, I will see you later, and bye bye.